to Intuitive Eating Wisdom Wednesday. This is when I come in and drop some intuitive eating wisdom for you. So today we're talking about binge eating and the common mistakes you're making, most notably three main mistakes. There are more, but those are the three I'm going to highlight. Before I do that, number one, I want to welcome our new members. So welcome to our amazing community where you're going to learn a ton. And I also want to remind everybody, in case you don't know who I am, Bonnie Giller, registered dietitian, nutritionist, certified intuitive eating counselor. I help women stop dieting. You know, women who are just burned out chronic dieters. I help you stop dieting and regain trust in yourself with food. So eating is easy, it's enjoyable, and it is nourishing to your body and your mind. I help you break that rule-driven eating cycle. You know that eating cycle where you follow the rules of eating, eat this, don't eat that, etc. We break that. We break that cycle. I do this work through my Whole Body Trust Intuitive Eating program, which is a coaching program. If you're interested to learn more about how that works, and if you want one of the spots that are open for this coming October where I'm enrolling, just reach out to me, commenting below, or messaging me, private messaging me. Today, the mistakes that you're making that lead to binge eating, what are they and how do you avoid them? I think if we just start with understanding that dieters who struggle with the diet mentality will often fall victim to the lies of the diet industry, which basically say that you need to restrict and deprive yourself in order to achieve a certain weight and a certain appearance, a certain look. And these lies trap you into this cycle of restriction, binge eating, restriction, binge eating, which leads to this very unhealthy restrict binge cycle. Binge eating is a complex and a serious disorder where people consume large amounts of food at one time, often rapidly, and to the point of discomfort. Because those who struggle with binge eating feel that they're out of quote-unquote control with food, they will then restrict their intake, restrict their calories to quote-unquote make up for what they've eaten. This, however, what it does instead is increases the urge to eat, leading to further loss of control and significant emotional distress, which is keeping you in this cycle. Do you relate? Remember to comment below if you're on replay, #replay. In addition, before I forget, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a heart. It tells the algorithm that, hey, this is something that people want to listen to, and it will let others know that they should come and listen to. So, have you ever felt that eating helps with coping with intense emotions? So you have an intense emotion and you fall back to food? Or do you think that food is the only thing that helps you feel good about yourself? Ultimately, after you binge, you don't feel good about yourself. Maybe you have some thoughts such as, if I eat this, I'll feel better. Or, I've messed up today already, so I'm just going to keep eating and, I'll start again tomorrow. Well, do you have that mindset? Because that is part of the dieting mindset. So if you have and you struggle with those thoughts, please don't be ashamed. Don't be hard on yourself. You are not alone, right? Unfortunately, they are triggered by the lies of diet industry, which are ingrained in your mind, and these are coming to life. My message to you is this: there is a way to combat this diet mentality and end this vicious cycle. Intuitive eating can help you change these negative thoughts around food, eating in your body, so you can develop a positive relationship with food and yourself. So intuitive eating is in essence the opposite of binge eating, right? Binge eating, you're totally disconnected from your inner signals. Intuitive eating is about connecting back to those signals, listening to your body, honoring its signals, rather than imposing strict rules and restrictions on your eating. And so it's based on the fact that, or I should say based on the belief, which really is a fact, that you are your only expert of your body. Nobody else is the expert of your body. And that it's important for you to trust yourself and your body's wisdom when it comes to food and eating. When you utilize this idea, you really bring this idea into your being, right? This helps you make peace with food in your body, and it actually brings you joy in eating. You can actually have that great pleasure in eating without guilt and without shame. It is important to recognize that food will not help fix feelings, and instead of turning to food for comfort, it is most essential to address the underlying emotional needs and seek support, whether it be from friends, from family, from a professional. Understanding your patterns coupled with learning how to connect back with your inner wisdom, how to eat intuitively, is the step forward towards regaining, I don't want to even say control, I'll say taking charge of your food and your eating, and really finding a healthier, more balanced relationship with food. So, what are those 3 mistakes that you often make that lead to binge eating? Number 1, you're restricting your food intake. Restricting your calories, restricting your food choices, eliminating food groups or what have you, actually amplifies cravings for those foods and makes those foods more intense. And this leads to you, quote unquote, breaking the rules, resulting in your overeating, eventually binge eating, as a response to the extreme hunger you feel from the restriction, and also the deprivation that ensues from you not enjoying the foods that you truly love that you've been restricting. Number 2, emotional eating. So if you turn to food when you're feeling uncomfortable emotions, or you have a void in your life and you're trying to fill it with food, what ends up happening is you end up associating feelings with food. And this leads to you assigning moral values to food, categorizing it as good or bad. That's the food that helps me be comforted, that soothes me. So if you cope with your emotions by, let's say, binging on chocolate. So let's say you recognize I'm sad and I just need chocolate. Does anybody resonate with that? Why does that happen? Well, in the past, maybe you were sad, you had some chocolate, you felt like, ooh, that feels better, I feel more comforted. It set a neural pathway down in your brain, so now you've made an association, right? But ultimately then, you binge on it. You don't feel good physically or emotionally, and now you view the chocolate as quote-unquote bad, or, oh, you know, I shouldn't be eating this, but eventually you do again when you're sad, and then we have that same restrict binge cycle. Third, seeing binging itself as the problem. So when you're trying to figure out what is with my relationship with food and you say binging, that's my problem. So hold on a second. Acknowledging that binging itself is not really the problem, but it's a response to other problems that you are actually not addressing. That's the real problem, right? So binging is the response to other problems you're having, feelings or emotions or whatever triggers the binging. That's what has to be addressed. Because if we can address those underlying problems, the binging will probably soon dissipate. The key to avoiding these mistakes is learning to listen to your body. What is your body actually telling you? Because your body gives you lots of messages. So identify those triggers for you. Self-reflect, right? Awareness is so key. And try to identify the emotions that you're feeling, the emotions that trigger you to eat, to binge. What are those feelings? Honor the hunger and fullness cues, respecting what your body is telling you. So first, you have to listen. You have to be able to pick that up. With sometimes, and most often, if you have a history of chronic dieting, it's not so easy to hear hunger and fullness, right? They go silent, those signals. So it's really trying to ignite those signals, then listening to them, trusting them, respecting them. That's going to help you stop that binge eating cycle. Fullness, very difficult for a lot of people to feel, right? There's so much that goes into feeling fullness and saying, I'm going to stop. That's so much that goes into that. Example, I just spoke with a client on the phone, and she says, you know, there's a sadness that was coming up for her, and it doesn't allow her to stop eating. Well, we need to work through that sadness and understand where that's coming from. And really, really work on making peace with yourself. Understand that you are worthy. You are worthy of enjoying food. You are worthy of enjoying food that you love, that you want to eat. Learning to eat intuitively and stop this restrict binge cycle can be hard. Yeah. but embrace it because it is the path forward for you to create a better relationship with yourself, with food, and your body. I know that you can do this. We all make mistakes. We all do. But these mistakes actually are not setbacks. They are there for us to learn and grow. So it's important to acknowledge them, take responsibility, and then move forward. What can you learn? What can you gain from that? The intuitive eating healing process is a very impactful process. So think of it as a long game. Here you are today. There is a process, a systematic process that you can utilize to undo all those years of dieting. Remember, intuitive eating is not just I'll eat when I'm hungry and I'll stop when I'm full. Because if that's what you think it is, take note of how challenging that is for you. There's quite a lot of work that you need to do on your mindset, on your belief system, on your values, and so much more. Till eventually you get to that place where you finally trust yourself with food, trust the choices you're making, and you're nourishing yourself in a way that feels good, not because you're being told to do it that way, but because that's what you decide to do. So, share below your experiences, your comments, your follow-up questions. I'm happy to respond back. #replay will tag me, or you can tag me with my name. And just remember, we do have a group program, Whole Body Trust. If you are finally looking to get the support to help you through this journey so you don't continue to spin your wheels, please reach out to me either below, via email, via private message here on Facebook, and I'm happy to talk with you to see how I can be of assistance. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll speak with you real